Ask before you shout. The end of the story. Well, the end of this particular story. Because we know that most stories are never really ever truly over. And there are plenty more adventures for Finley the Fox and friends to look forward to. If you like this story about sharing and friendship, then you should check out this other story about a fox who learns a different lesson. One crisp autumn day, Finley the Fox was scampering around his favorite tree when he spotted something strange. Nestled among the roots was a large gleaming object. It looked like a smooth grey pebble, except it was too shiny, too perfectly round, and definitely not a natural colour. Finley crouched down and prodded it with his nose. A gentle jingle sound filled the air. Finley jumped back, startled. The mysterious object started to glow. Finley peeked closer. Was it a magic stone? A mystical orb? A treasure from a faraway land? As he stared, mesmerized, the glowing intensified. Suddenly, the object shot up into the air and landed on Finley's head. Startled, he swatted at it with his paw. Jingle. The object wobbled on his head, making him dizzy. To get rid of it, Finley ran, zigzagging between trees, leaping over logs, anything to get the strange object off his head. Suddenly, he tripped over a tree root and landed flat on his back. The object rolled off his head and stopped at the base of the tree, panting. Finley slowly got to his feet and ambled over to where the object lay. It was still glowing faintly, and it looked even stranger in the dim light. Finley hesitantly poked it with his nose. The jingle sound seemed softer now. Looking around, he noticed a squirrel sitting on a branch above him, watching intently. "What is that?" Finley asked. The squirrel hopped down onto the tree root beside him. "That's my acorn cap," she said, "and it's not supposed to glow." Finley stared at the glowing acorn cap. He hadn't meant to take it, but it wouldn't come off his head. What was he supposed to do? The squirrel looked at Finley, her cheeks bulging. "Did you just steal my acorn cap?" she accused. Finley flinched. He hadn't thought of that. He picked up the cap and held it out to her. "Here you go," he said. The squirrel snatched the cap and shoved it under her shirt. Relief washed over Finley. That was the last thing he wanted, an enemy. But then the squirrel did something unexpected. She pulled the cap back out and dangled it in front of him. "Give me 5 shiny pebbles for this." Finley stared at her. 5 shiny pebbles. "Why?" The squirrel shrugged. "They're worth at least 10 sticks in trade." Finley thought about how heavy the cap was, how smoothly it rolled around in his paws. It did look nice, sort of like a shiny marble. "Okay," he said. "Here are your 5 pebbles." The squirrel nodded, tucked the cap under her shirt again, and scampered up the tree. Finley watched her go, puzzled. Had he just been tricked? The next day, Finley was helping his mom gather berries when he saw a flash of movement out of the corner of his eye. He turned and spotted the same squirrel climbing down a tree with a group of her friends. "Hey!" he called out. "Don't forget our deal." The squirrel paused and turned to look at him. "Deal?" she said innocently. "What deal?" Finley frowned. "You know, about the acorn cap." The squirrel's eyes widened. "Oh, you mean the acorn cap that you gave me for free? How kind of you." She flashed him a sly grin. "Want to make another deal?" Finley stared at her. He didn't like the way she kept changing her story. "What do you want?" 5 shiny pebbles, she said, holding out her paws. Finley sighed. This game was getting ridiculous. "You said I could have it for 5 pebbles. Now you say you want 5 pebbles." The squirrel tilted her head. "We agreed on 5 pebbles." Finley looked at the empty space where the cap had been. Was he really going to let her trick him again? He thought about how his mother had told him to always think before he acted. Would she have taken the cap, or given him a better idea? He took a deep breath and decided to try talking to her again. I don't have any shiny pebbles, he said, but I have these pretty stones I found by the river. He reached into his pocket and pulled out 3 smooth, colorful stones. The squirrel looked at them, then back at Finley. These are beautiful, she said. I'll trade you a pecan for one. Finley smiled. Finally, someone who understood the value of things. Great, he said. Let's make a deal. And that is how Finley learned that it's important to understand the value of things before trading them. Well, that's it for this story. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to share, like, and subscribe.